Is it going to be tomorrow?
What's that?
Is it tomorrow?
I thought it's today. I think it is today.
And we have no, that's sweet, no resolution. I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Minneapolis City Council to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Gordon.
Here.
Kano.
Here.
Reich.
Here.
Bender.
Here.
Glidden.
Here.
Yang.
Here.
Johnson is absent. Quincy.
Here.
Warsami.
Present.
Goodman.
Present.
Frey.
Here.
Palmisano.
Here.
President Johnson.
Here.
There are 12 members present.
We have a quorum present. Just wanted to mention that our colleague, Councilmember Andrew Johnson, is not here because he's getting married. So we want to offer him our congratulations and wish him and his new bride a long and happy marriage. So he won't be joining us today. Next item on our agenda is adoption of the agenda, and we have a couple amendments to the agenda by Councilmember Frey. So they are in front of you. Well, I guess the second is a staff direction. So amending the agenda is Councilmember Frey moves to amend new business number 2 by including Chapter 520 introductory provisions to the notice of intent related to regulations for fraternities and sororities ordinance. So on that addition to the agenda, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. And we'll wait on the zoning and planning item there. So a motion to adopt the agenda as amended would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next is acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 27th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next is referral of petitions, communications, and reports to proper committees.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The reports to the standing committees are next, and the first to report is the Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam President. There are 12 items on our agenda for approval this morning. They include various liquor, business, and gambling license applications. Other notable items include item number 4, which is an MOU we're entering into with the Public Housing Authority to analyze opportunities for potential inspections coordination. We're also working with the county and their Affordable Housing Incentive Fund in item number 7 for a number of projects, as well as moving forward a project through our pipeline of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund in item number 8. I did mention all of these items in Committee of the Whole 2 days ago, so I will move items 1 through 12 this morning.
Councilmember Goodman has moved the Community Development and Regulatory Services report. Anyone want to pull anything off or discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Frey.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have Health, Environment, and Community Engagement, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Madam President. The Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee is bringing forward 6 items for approval. The first item is directing staff to draft and submit written comments in support of the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency's notice of intent to revoke without reissuance the air quality permit for Northern Metals Recycling. Second item is authorizing submittal of an application for the U.S. Department of Energy's Cities Leading through Energy Analysis and Planning grant for $500,000. Third item is accepting a single bid in the amount of $100,000 to furnish and deliver medication devices for the health department. The fourth item is accepting a $10,000 grant from New Venture Fund to achieve Bright Cities status. The fifth item is authorizing an amendment to a contract we have with EMSL Analytical by $20,000. This is for lead testing services. And the last item is amending a city council action from October, kind of refining our authorization to draft RFPs for community solar. We're separating the staff direction into two parts. So first, we'll authorize an issuance of an RFP for community solar services for the city that'll include certain criteria, including potential ownership by the city of Minneapolis for the renewable energy credits. And then later we will explore another RFP that would attempt to incorporate some of the other criteria that we had identified back in October. I will move all 6 items for approval.
Councilmember Gordon has moved the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Report. Anyone want to discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Frey.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Madam President. Today we have 4 items for approval. The first item is a contract amendment with Hennepin Health Services for attending medical director. Second item is a contract with MPHA for investigating fraud under Section 8. Third item is a contract with SMG for perimeter security at US Bank Stadium. And the fourth item is a contract amendment with Minneapolis Public Schools for SROs. And I will move all 4 items for approval.
Councilmember Yang has moved the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Report. Anyone want to discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Frey.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Transportation Public Works Report. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee is forwarding 19 items today. Item 1 is the land sale at 29.5 Grand Avenue South and 2905 Harriet Avenue. Series of actions to consummate that. Item 2 is the Stormwater Management Program Annual Report. 3, 4, and 5 are agreements with MnDOT for landscaping improvements at Triangle Park, landscaping improvements along I-35W, and public infrastructure design for I-35W. Item 6 is the 4th Street Southeast reconstruction project. They had approval and easement authorization. Item 7 is similarly a reconstruction for Phase 1 project at Bryant Avenue South, Lind Avenue South, and 29th Street. Item 3 is the 3rd Avenue South, 1st Street South, 16th Street East reconstruction project, parking restrictions. Item 9 is the special boulevard permit at 712 Ontario Avenue. Item 10 is a Bassett Creek Watershed Management Commission appointments. Those people are listed. Item 11 is a Hennepin Avenue reconstruction project concept plan approval for purposes of getting a grant application in. Item 12 is the Southwest Corner Light Rail Transit final environmental impact statement comments. Following items we refer to the Ways and Means Committee. Item 13 is agreement with MnDOT for Central Avenue, University Avenue traffic signal and pedestrian ramp reconstruction project. Item 14 is a contract amendment with Waste Management Incorporated for transfer station operations services. Item 15 is a 2016 Met Council regional solicitation for federal transportation funds. Item 16 is the downtown pedestrian improvement project intent to use tax exempt bonds proceeds. Item 17 is the Bridge 9 Pier 3 repair project, and that's a contract amendment with Global Specialty Contractors for that project. Item 18 is the bid for 7th Street reconstruction project, and that's accepting a low bid from Thomas & Sons. Item 19 is a bid for accepting the low bid for the 54th Street reconstruction project with Schaefer Contracting Company. Madam President, I forward all items for approval.
Councilmember Reich has moved the Transportation Public Works Report. Anyone want to pull any of those items off or discuss anything? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Frey.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Ways and Means Report. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam President. Ways and Means will bring forward 20 items for your consideration this morning. The first is a grant from Minneapolis Auto Club Foundation for safety education materials. Item 2 is a contract amendment with Thomson Reuters Westlaw Online Legal Research. There are 3 legal settlements, as well as an establishment of administrative hearing officer and enforcement services panel. We're also, from the city coordinator's office, accepting One Minneapolis, One Read grant funds from the Minneapolis Foundation. Item number 8 is a contract with Patrick Bourne and Patricia Helen for professional planning and coordination services. 9 is the Minnesota Historical Society Certified Local Government Grant Acceptance. Item number 10 is a contract with RSP Architects, Architectural and Engineering Design Services. 11 is a settlement agreement with Beacon Sales Acquisition for business relocation project. Item number 12 is a contract with Hagen Christensen McWillan Architects for architectural and engineering design services. 13 is a contract amendment with the state of Minnesota for Minneapolis impound lot. Items 14, 15, 16 are various contracts for IT support, including GIS, contract amendment with Cloud Sherpas, and a contract amendment with LinkedIn Corporation for recruiting tool usage. We also have a contract with the state of Minnesota through SHI International for use of Microsoft products, contract with Knowledge Lake for enterprise content management system, and a contract amendment with Westlaw Publishing. And final item number 20 is the prevailing wage requirements for public improvement contracts ordinance, adding a prevailing wage requirements for certain city contracts and public improvements. I'd like to move all 20 items for approval.
Councilmember Quincy has moved the Ways and Means report. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Frey.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. And next we have the Zoning and Planning Committee report, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam President. We have 5 items from Zoning and Planning. Item number 1 is a certificate of appropriateness appeal at 721 North 1st Street to deny that appeal, and with one additional condition related to building materials on that building and adopting the staff findings. Item number 2 was granting an appeal for Heritage Preservation Commission decisions on a project at 200 Central Avenue Southeast. Condition of approval number 2 would require that the building that is currently there be made widely available for 3 months to allow for options of relocating it or reuse. And we also approved a certificate of appropriateness application to allow for the construction of a new 40-story mixed-use building there. Item number 3 was denying an appeal submitted by Neighbors for East Bank Livability on that same project at 200 Central Avenue Southeast. Item number 3 is denying an appeal for a side yard setback variance at 3621 Bryant Avenue South. And item number 5 was denying an application for a rezoning at 3219 Portland Avenue. Just to note on items 1, 2, and 3, these are all just related to the Heritage Preservation Commission decisions. The land use approvals for these will come back through council, and I will move all 5 items.
Direction on item 2.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, and I would also like to comment on items numbers 1 and 2. Would you like me to move
Yeah,
the
why don't
staff
you go
direction
ahead.
simultaneously?
That would be fine.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll first go ahead and move the staff direction, which is moving to direct staff to, this is regarding item number 2, to continue to ensure the integrity of the historic district through careful site-specific analysis of future development proposals.
On the staff direction, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
Thank you, Madam President. On item number 1, related to the certificate of appropriateness at I believe it's 721 North 1st Street in North Loop. I appreciate the amendment brought by Councilmember Johnson dealing with the aesthetic, and I also appreciate the developer's willingness to cooperate and improve the building to a brick exterior. And I'll also comment now on item number 2, which is a fairly significant project. The staff direction that we just passed was predominantly to resist setting a precedent by the previous action in the historic districts. But this project, which is a 40-story tower on the east side of the river, is very significant. And I think what we're showing here is the concepts of both growth and preservation are not mutually exclusive. In addition to preserving our history, we can also make our own in 2016. This is a project that is owner-occupied, which is a rare occurrence these days, adds substantially to the tax base. Presently, taxes are about $41,000 without the building on it. With the building on it, they're about $2.5 million. And obviously tackles our goal of growing the city as well. So I really appreciate all of the input from neighbors and constituents. It was thoughtful, it was reasonable, and we were listening throughout. But at the end of the day, we need to make a decision, and in this case, it was to create a history for many years to come.
Any further discussion on the zoning and planning report? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Frey.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the introduction and referral calendar, and the first is a motion by myself to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to housing maintenance code regarding door closing devices and licensing standards ordinance. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The second is a motion by myself to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to traffic code, parking, stopping, and standing, amending the department with oversight responsibility of traffic control within the code to reflect the current structure. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next, we have a motion by Councilmember Yang to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the food code, amending provisions related to the geographical boundaries authorized for operating sidewalk food carts. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next, we have a motion by Councilmember Bender to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the zoning and planning code, amending the definition of half-story. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next is a motion by Councilmember Bender to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the zoning code, amending yard and setback requirements in non-residential zoning districts. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Under new business, we have Councilmember Frey giving notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to authorizing electronic service of violation notices and orders. That notice is given. Councilmember Frey also gives notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the zoning code, amending regulations for fraternities and sororities. That notice is given. Next is Councilmember Warsami gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the zoning code for off-premise sign, advertising signs, and billboards. That notice is given. Councilmember Bender gives notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the zoning code related to accessory dwelling units. That notice is given. Next is Councilmember Goodman giving notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to liquor and beer, amending provisions related to the requirement that applications for new alcohol license must be submitted twice to the appropriate committee of the City Council. That notice is given. Councilmember Bender gives notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the zoning code, amending the zoning map as part of a rezoning study in the Lowry Hill East neighborhood. That notice is given. Councilmember Palmisano gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to administration, finance department, clarifying internal audit duties, and amending the Audit Committee referral process. That notice is given. Next, we have announcements. Anyone have any announcements? Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wish to bring people's attention to that today is National Garbage Hauler Day, and that the people at Public Works, and I think all of us want to salute that fine work that they do on this special day for them.
One of our most valued city services. Any further announcements? Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to wish all the fathers up here and out there in the city of Minneapolis happy Father's Day this weekend.
Any further announcements? Seeing none, I'm just going to mention that we had a death of someone in North Minneapolis she actually was at Catholic Elder Care for a number of years lately. But Sister Jean Throff died, and she was the lady that founded the Cookie Cart after starting baking with young people and entertaining them in her home, and she outgrew it and ended up with a sidewalk cart to start with, and now a cookie cart and an expanded cookie cart on West Broadway, and now entering into St. Paul with that great enterprise. And I noted in her obituary that the cookie cart has served 10,000 teens so far in its existence, and it's a wonderful addition to our community, and she'll be greatly missed. The other thing I wanted to just say briefly is that our city, Minneapolis, is gravely concerned and distraught with what happened in Orlando, Florida. And we have a very large, vibrant gay community in our city. And I think for us, it's especially difficult to have this hate surface in our country. And I just think in light of this being the big Pride Month and our Pride celebration coming up, that we want to be extra vigilant and supportive of the people in Orlando, but also supportive of our citizens in our community that are really hurting. And I would just like to take a moment of silence for the people in Orlando. Thank you. I have one more thing. Talking about violence, I'm going to keep on my information sharing. This week, we had in North Minneapolis, shots fired at a beauty salon. This was actually last week, but since the last council meeting, in a beauty shop where a lady was injured, hit her in the neck. We're lucky that she was not seriously injured. Sanctuary Covenant Church, they have an office on 37th and Emerson, and they had shots fired in their office, and the glass was broken at the time that there was a meeting of the ministers and clergy trying to figure out how to deal with the violence and the shootings that are going on. That same day, St. Bridget's Church, about 2 blocks away, was hit by several bullets, and Sojourner Truth Academy across the street from St. Bridget's, a charter school, had a window broken with a bullet. 2 days ago, the YMCA Teen Enrichment Center on West Broadway had a window shattered by a bullet, place that young people gather. And then last night on Hennepin Avenue, I am hearing that there was a shootout on Hennepin Avenue. So we have a problem with guns in this community. We have a problem with violence in this community, and I'm going to keep saying it until things change. Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, a motion to adjourn is in order, and it's a motion to adjourn to a closed council meeting for 2 items, a litigation matter and then a security briefing to discuss security upcoming planned public events.
So moved.
No discussion, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. Thank you all very much. We're adjourned.